The dingo, an animal considered so dangerous and damaging to livestock that the longest fence in the world was built to keep them out.
Almost twice the length of the Great Wall of China, this incredibly long fence starts in Queensland, follows the New South Wales border, and then pushes deep into South Australia.
It finally ends after 5,300 kilometres, where the Nullarbor Plain meets the Great Southern Ocean.
The dingo is Australia's native wild dog, a ruthless and cunning hunter condemned by farmers the length and breadth of the continent.
They probably came here from Asia around 4,000 or 5,000 years ago and pushed out any competing predators. It's now the continent's largest land-based predator and one of the few natural enemies of domestic livestock.
The dingo has been branded as a thrill killer. Sheep farmers say that dingoes will kill or maim every animal they can catch, when a single victim would be more than enough to provide all the food they need.
There's also evidence that when dingoes kill for sport, they go for the strongest, fastest animal in the flock. And then they often don't even eat the victim. The killing sprees are usually nothing more than a deadly game. Unless food is scarce, dingoes would prefer to eat kangaroos or wallabies.
They are just as likely to leave a paddock dotted with dead or dying livestock, and then hunt down a single kangaroo for food. The dingo is considered one of the most serious permanent hazards to life on the land in outback Australia. The cost to the grazing industry is more than the toll of animals killed in their raids.
Because of dingoes, large areas of potential sheep land is left alone. Graziers consider the stock losses would be the difference between success or failure. Faced with such a dangerous natural enemy, farmers won't even think of trying to graze their flocks in places where dingoes haven't been controlled.
That's the main reason why some governments have put a price on their head. And that's why a barrier was built across 3 states to keep them out of Australia's richest sheep country.
As we continue our journey along the dingo fence, we see the toll of native animals that don't understand these man-made barriers. Kangaroos and wallabies try to jump the fences, and sometimes they don't quite make it.
Other animals don't seem to have the intelligence to even realize that there is a solid barrier. We've seen in the last program how Steve had to get between an emu and the fence before it would run to safety. All it wanted to do was batter itself against the mesh. Here's another bird that's hit the fence. Steve wants to check it for injuries.
There you go, mate. Gee, they can run. You're all right. You're all right. Oh, isn't he a beauty? He's only a youngster. Young emu. It's a bit hot to be chasing things out here. Come on, mate. Away you go.
He was a bit slow, but otherwise okay. Normally I wouldn't have a chance of catching a healthy emu. Maybe he's learned a lesson about fences.
In part 1 of our incredible expedition along the dingo fence, we saw how far Australian governments will go to keep dingoes away from grazing land.
We discover how emus are fascinating but very silly creatures.
We saw how a parched land can suddenly be flooded.
And we rescue native wildlife trapped in the mesh of fences.
Some of Australia's most fascinating reptiles showed us their survival skills in some of the most arid parts of Australia, including a bearded dragon that thought the best defense was a good attack.
We enjoyed enormous flocks of budgerigars in their natural habitat.
As we traveled thousands of kilometers along the dingo fence, in New South Wales we discovered rabbits in plague proportions and saw how these feral pests have devastated parts of the inland. Being cute up close doesn't compensate for the damage they do.
We saw the stark beauty of some of the harshest environments on Earth.
Steve and Suey took on one of the most dangerous and destructive animals in the bush. A wild boar with tusks sharp enough to rip flesh and the power to inflict terrible wounds. Now, as we continue our expedition along the New South Wales section of the fence, we find ourselves in the middle of a dense population of red kangaroos. We've been crossing back and forwards into South Australia, and in this part of New South Wales, we saw literally thousands of kangaroos. But tonight, Steve is looking for something else.
A fox, caught in the glare of the spotlight. Fox numbers are booming here in Australia, and the rabbit plague means there's plenty of tucker. And in places, foxes are now getting out of hand, along with the rabbits.
Like so many animals in this remote part of Australia, they see so few humans that even the foxes let us get much closer than usual. That eye shine from the spotlight reveals animals at night far easier than in daylight. And Steve can tell one animal from another by the eye shine alone.
We're about to leave the New South Wales border fence and continue our journey along the South Australian dog fence. At more than 2,000 kilometres, this will be the second longest section.
8 hours. That's going to be a little tough.
It is. It's going to be very tough.
We haven't seen many dingoes so far in our journey. At this time of year, conditions are good, and so is the hunting. With no need to cross into sheep country, the dingoes are widely dispersed in the area outside the fence.
And as far as the South Australian government is concerned, they're perfectly welcome to stay there. The policy is no dingoes inside the fence, and they can do what they like outside. But everywhere we go, there's always other wildlife to keep the journey interesting.
What are you doing out here? We nearly ran you over. This little bearded dragon is obviously a male. You can see by the size of his head. He has a big, boofy head. This little guy's got a couple little problems. He's kind of thin, and he's got a couple ticks on him. So,